I'm standing by my views on that, and that is I don't necessarily think it was a 7-1.
My opinion's going to be completely different.
Even the week before, picturing we drew 1-1, and that's one of those where I think you get another 5 minutes on the game, and there were only one team looking to win it.
Must be! Yes! Go for Ossett United! Dave Wilshaw! I do not believe it! Midfield has gone absolutely ballistic! Ladies and gentlemen, so this is another episode of the Ossett United Stronger Together podcast. We are live today on Facebook for a bit of a season review. So we are joined today by Craig and Neil. How are we, guys?
I'm very good, Chris. How are you?
Yes, I'm alright, thank you very much, yeah.
Good stuff.
Have you up to much since the season finished?
No, because my other team's season hasn't yet finished. Normally we've given up by October, but playoffs start tomorrow, 3 o'clock away to Sheffield United, live on Sky Sports.
Go on your blade.
And Spoff, how are you, mate? All right?
Yeah, all good. Keeping busy. I've, whilst working in Southampton, managed to go catch the Southampton Senior Cup final, AFC Totton lifting the trophy. That was a bit of an adventure.
Yeah, so it's been a bit boring weekend, I must admit.
Yeah, it has.
It's been a bit weird not coming down to the club and doing what we do down here, but
yeah, Neil and myself were also at the same game on Wednesday night, but we didn't actually know either of us was going.
Indeed.
The FA Youth Cup final between Manchester United and Forest at Old Trafford. Not quite sure how that works. 67,000 record attendance for the FA Youth Cup final.
That's very good.
Nearly 6,000 Forest.
I knew quite a few people there that night. It was quite weird to see them all there. So, season review, guys. How do you think the season's gone?
I think we'll let Neil go first on that one.
Well, then, Neil.
Good, bit dodgy, then reasonably decent towards the end. I personally would have taken a 9th place finish before the season started. Obviously when we start as well as we did, you up your expectations a little bit. But I think we're in a really good place now, both on and off the field. For next season, I think things were starting to gel, certainly towards like the last month of the season. There was a brief period on that last day where we were 6th with results going in our favour. But in a way, I think finishing 9th keeps us under the radar a little bit for next season. But yeah, overall, yeah, C plus.
C plus, yeah. I mean, it was a good start to the season. I'm not going to say a great start to the season, but I think the simple fact that we were in and around the top 5 for, well, the majority of the first half of the season at least. Obviously, we knew we had the blip, the change in management, and like Neil's just alluded to there, I think with the Mask result, for me, it's actually disappointing that, because had we have got the 3 points, we'd have finished 6th, which I think is testament to the season as a whole, apart from obviously our not so good away form. So to go to Mask, obviously finish 2nd and get a point, brilliant. So I'm going to give it a B plus.
No, yeah, I think I'm sort of in between the pair of you on that one. Sort of C plus B minus. Obviously, a lot of good performances here at home. Away performances probably very mixed. Obviously, we got knocked out of the cup on the freezing cold night at Albion Sports. That was probably the low point. I think that was probably the worst performance I saw away from home.
Yeah, I mean that was obviously the County Cup.
Yeah.
Albion Sports at Farsley Celtic. Albion Sports obviously a league below. I mean, let's be honest, we had snuck past Selby the round before. Obviously, it took penalties to actually win that one. And I think it was a disappointing way to go out of the trophy that, in theory, we were still the holders of 3 years after winning it.
Yep.
But ultimately, what transpired from there was the disappointment of the poor performance at home to Ponte and a change in management. The right decision for me. Not necessarily anything against Benno and Chick and the boys, but you could see that something had to change, and change for the better, I think it has, is probably the best way to describe that.
Yeah, I suppose you think it was a needed change or a good change at the time?
Yeah, like Craig said, Ben and Chick had done a great job under difficult circumstances. I think some fresh voices, just different ideas on players to bring in and things like that. It just gave a bit more spark to the squad for the end of the season. Some of the players we were bringing in were not necessarily regulars at the previous club, so it took maybe a month for them to get up to speed match fitness wise. And I certainly think over the last month we saw the capabilities of the squad. We looked like a really solid Northern Premier League side. I touched on the away form weren't great, and in the last 2 away games at Hebburn and Mask we only picked up a point, but the 2 performances gave me a lot of hope for going into next season. It was a point, it could have been 6, but yeah, there's a lot of positivity I think over this summer and going into next season.
Yeah, were you happy with who came in? Like obviously Benno made some signings, some players went out, and then obviously Jazz has come in, he's made some signings. You happy with who's gone? Yeah,
Jazz and Wardy didn't really let anybody go. The majority of players who left chose to do so. Whether they didn't feel like they were going to be in the squad or in the starting 11, 2 or 3 of them didn't really give them an opportunity to prove themselves. The players that they're looking at are all, or in the main, coming from clubs in higher divisions or at the top end of the division or the step that we're in, and it just looks like a stronger squad. I believe they're going to be hoping to add 4 or 5 to the squad this summer. The majority of the squad have said they're going to stay, but we are still quite early in pre-season, so there is a chance that could change. But once we get to probably the middle of pre-season, the players that are here will be players that Jazz and Wardy want, and players who want to be here as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next season, pushing up, being in and around the playoffs. Jazz and Wardy wouldn't have taken the job if they didn't believe they could get a squad that would be pushing for promotion. Neither of them want to be mid-table like nobody does here. So yeah, get that little bit of luck and get on a good run, and anything's possible.
You looking forward to next season, Craig?
Yeah, most definitely. It's I mean, we obviously said earlier it's been a bit of a strange one because obviously our season finishes on April the 23rd this season. So from that perspective, thankfully Forest are still involved with stuff. Otherwise, I'd have no football whatsoever. But for me personally, a lot of new teams coming into the league next season. Yes, okay, I'll admit I'm a little bit excited about trips down to Nottingham for Carlton Town, where I've actually got a few friends that go and watch those and work on the marketing and commercial side at the club over there. Long Eaton United, I don't know a great deal about those other than Forest signed Gary Birtles from them in 1976 when he was a carpet fitter. But it's going to be tough with the North East teams, something that Neil and myself were talking about earlier. Our teams like Cleethorpes going to be as much a threat this season as they were last season. We wait and see there. Are teams like Sheffield going to improve on last season, or are they going to be struggling again down towards the bottom? We don't know, but I think there's certainly a case of being very optimistic for next season. I think already the players that Jazz and Wardy's brought in this season, you can see a difference in quality. I think it's a case of those players maybe gelling a little bit more over pre-season. It'd be good to get a pre-season and then actually finish the season as well with the same managers, because it's not something we've been able to do since the first season at Ossett United. And I just think that the calibre of players that are coming in are, and this is no disrespect again to the players that left when Benno and Chick left, but you can see they're a step above.
Yeah. You
really can see they're a step above, and I think the crowds down here at Ingfield towards the end of the season were appreciative of what we were trying to do, what the club was trying to do. The fans kept coming, and the results at home, the fans were greatly repaid, I suppose is the best way to describe it.
Yeah. I think definitely there was a change. Definitely, obviously, we went to 13 games without a win under Benno. Jazz came in. It was a good start. I think going into the next season, I think depending on who stays, who goes, I think we could be in for an exciting season. I think if there's players that definitely we need to keep hold of. I think if we can keep hold of like Iffy and players such as that, I think good quality. But yeah, depends who comes in, who goes out. I think it could be. You mentioned Cleethorpes. Me and you said on the podcast that week that wasn't a 7-1 game.
No,
they literally had 7 good chances, got 7 goals.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't have put Cleethorpes as. I didn't see a massively good team, like better than us, massively better than us. I just saw a bad
at the time.
At the time. But as I said, then when you've got someone like Scott Vernon playing for you, who's former professional, played at I wouldn't say a decent level back then, but he's played professionally against top teams. Easy to score goals. So yeah, I don't think Cleethorpes, depending on how they perform, but yeah, I'm excited for next season definitely.
Yeah,
depending on who comes, who goes. Any areas you think we need to strengthen in particular?
I'd like to maybe see a little bit more creativity in the middle of the park. That'll be my first targeted area. But apart from that, really, I think for me, keeping a steady back four.
Yeah.
It's something that we've said before. It's something that I've openly said to a lot of supporters over the last couple of years, to be honest with you. And the fact is that we've had a lot of injuries with defenders and key defenders. So we've had to, in many occasions, put square pegs in round holes and have fullbacks playing centre back and central midfielders playing centre back. And I think if we can just get the injuries out of the way and get a settled back four, that is a basis for any team that want to do things.
Yeah, the areas you think was strong, need to get better in or strengthening.
Yeah, the thing for me, and Jazz and Wardy were looking to do it at the back end of last year, is just the strength in depth. Certainly early in the season, you looked at the bench and you didn't necessarily see somebody that could come on and make a massive difference. Whereas towards the back end of the year, until, like Craig said, the injuries kicked in again, it got to the point where you could see a swap. You've got Charlie Wood or Ollie Metcalf sat on the bench, who can come on and did pretty easily, jumped to mind, made the difference. So yes, I think the quality in the squad, I think, is good enough. It's just a few more numbers for that competition for places, which then people do naturally work that bit harder. If you're the only person in the squad who plays in a certain position, subconsciously you probably do just, I'm playing next week, and get comfortable.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Charlie Wood when he came in. I thought he was a really good addition to the squad.
I think Bradford have got their plan for him, I suppose. I know he's highly thought of at Bradford City, but I mean, when I think Neil messaged me first off to say, right, we're signing this kid, and he does X amount of kilometres per game, and for me, that was what stuck out straight away. You could see his work ethic, both on and off the ball, getting up and down, supporting, attacking. Brilliant player. He's obviously one of those that, unless plans change at Bradford, we probably won't see him back here next season, which is a shame. He's the sort of player I'd like to see. But, you're looking at the wide areas. You've got Iffy, you've got Curtis, you've got Hazard. So that's 3 straight away. Can't think of any more in that area.
No, they're the 3 main ones.
Yeah, Marcella's backup, obviously.
Yeah, that was really impressive. Charlie Wood, and obviously he scored on his debut at Tadcaster. It was a great goal. So I can see why Bradford, would want to take him back. And obviously when Iffy came in, I was really impressed with Iffy. We find it every week. We're speaking about his pace. Every single week, he's just pacing. When we were playing up at Hebburn, and I was commentating with Kendall.
Yes,
She was amazed by his pace as well. And same with Gary. Gary couldn't believe just how quick he was.
And of course, Iffy is one of the Ultras' favourites.
So
much so they've started singing songs about him.
Is it songs?
Iffy all over the world. Status Quo.
I'm going to say, are they old enough to know?
They probably don't even know who Status Quo is, but
he was really impressive. I found at the back end of the season, Wally started getting more goals.
Yeah.
I thought I saw a real improvement with Wally's performances. It was less dropping back.
Towards the back end of the season, he had the likes of Iffy and Curtis and Charlie and players like that were doing the running around him, so he wasn't having to drop as deep, and he was able to lay it off, and they were getting crosses in, and he got a couple of goals where he snuck in front of the keeper to head it in, and those sort of crosses weren't coming in earlier in the season.
No, I think I said it during the season as well. Like, he just needed that service. He just needed that good service that he's been lacking.
I think one area that we improved in after Jazz and Wardy came in was actually trying to get players closer to Wally.
Yeah.
Instead of having him as like the lone striker having to do everything. And then of course, naturally through frustration, if you're not getting the ball, you're going to drop deep.
Yeah.
But obviously with the training that Jazz and Wardy did with the whole team, it's like, well, let's get players closer to Wally. Let's feed him.
Yeah.
Let's get him fed. Let's have him in his natural position. He is a natural goal scorer. And he proved at the start of the season and at the end of the season that yes, he can put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, definitely. Once he got that service, it showed what he could do. And I think Hoggy in the middle, I think is a must keep.
Yeah,
he's just like a linchpin in the middle.
Yeah,
fights for everything. I think it was obvious to see we were struggling when he was obviously suspended or injured. Obviously season review. Have you got a standout game, Craig, that stood out for you?
I think for me it's got to be the Frickley game down here. You're 2-0 down, we've had a player sent off, and then all of a sudden we just look like a completely different team. I think I said to you in commentary at the time, I said what we need to be doing here, me personally, was putting 3 at the back, allowing your wide players to push on, and then lo and behold, they go and do that exact thing to Jazz and Wardy. And people always say, it's harder to play against 10 men, but we looked like a different class after that. We really did, and the fans loved every minute of it, and rightly so.
Yeah, that was a good game. Spoff.
Yeah, well, just so I'm not repeating that we're up there, but you look at the Stockton and the Sheffield games at home, just because of the excitement of scoring a winner in time added on. Certainly the Sheffield game, we were not great first half. But again, the performance really ramped up in the second half, and just seeing the fans' reaction, the way the players celebrate with the fans, and you just show that the management, the players, the fans have all bought in to what we're trying to do as a club, and sort of you take a step back, and it's great to see. We're on the right path.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, obviously, from a biased point of view,
I was going to say, we don't need to ask you that question, do we?
The Stockton and Sheffield games, they stand out for me for obvious reasons. Just to comment on them, first thing as a comment, that was just, to me, that's something you just couldn't really write. Like, the first one couldn't have come at a worse time, obviously recovering from a cold, and the voice kind of went, but the second one was just, and obviously we saw how popular they were on Twitter and whatnot. And
I think the Stockton goal, wasn't that your actual first Ossett United goal as commentary?
I think it was one of the first. I think it was the first competitive.
So that was a good goal to commentate on.
I don't know if the first goal I commentated on at Ossett United was, I think it was Nash Connolly. He scored a volley at the bonfire end. I can't remember now if that was a competitive league game or not, if it was pre-season.
Maybe Shildon, he scored 2 against Shildon.
I think it was, I don't know if that was pre-season.
No, it was Heaven.
It was
Heaven,
yes.
Heaven, sorry.
Yeah, because I was in, where was I? I was in Kos.
I was
listening to the game by the pool.
Yeah, because I think that was the first game he said to me, by the way, you're doing it. And I managed to get 2. That was a pre-season film, that one, Heaven, was that?
No, it was a league game.
That was the first goal I commentated on as a commentator, was Nash Connolly's volley, which not a bad goal, it was a good goal, but certainly that Stockton one was just, that was pretty special. That
you went viral.
Another one that jumps out as well is the first game of the season away at Pontefract. I'd been at a couple of training sessions a week before, and you know what you get when you play Pontefract, and Benno and Chick had instilled that you're gonna be facing a lot of long balls at the back, and then watching the game play out, it was how it had been described to expect. They had a lot of possession, but never truly threatened, and then we scored 2 really good goals that day. And then in the run up to it, while we were down to start the game, he was on his way back from holiday, got stuck in baggage collection, and weren't going to arrive in time, so Rion started, and I think Nick moved from the bench to I think Real Madrid to be on the bench and he started.
Yeah, swapped
and
around.
Wally went onto the bench and so a little bit of chaos in the run up to kick off as well.
It was a good performance, that. I mean, we did ride our luck a little bit because I think we had a couple of worldy goal line clearances. I think Killer was one that stood to mind, possibly Ross Hardacre as well. But it's always nice to get to one of your rivals and get 3 points, especially on the opening day of the season.
That's all. I'd have taken a point before that game, and then you come out of that with a win. You start thinking, and you've just touched on Ross Killett there. His injury at Brighouse, losing him, for me was key because absolute quality centre half.
Yeah.
Although he wasn't the captain, he led from the front and directed the game. And I do think that period we had 3 months without a win, or with just the one win. Had he been fit and playing in the majority of those, I think we'd have been a hell of a lot closer to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say it was Killett a big loss, I think.
Massive.
This season.
Absolutely massive loss. There's not much really to say on what Neil's just said there about, you lose a player of that quality, but I mean, off the pitch he was a really, really nice bloke, and obviously he's decided to call time on his career because of the injury. Fair enough. He's got a young family, but it was nice to see him down here towards the end of the season as well. He came down to one of the final home games, brought his son with him as well, so it's good to see him, and he seems in high spirits still.
Yeah.
And obviously Cowgill's is it important we keep Cowgill? Obviously he's been injured a lot this season.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of times with Jack Cowgill where he's been in the starting lineup and then he's had to be replaced because something's happened in training, in the warm-up beforehand. And I remember speaking to Jack just before the Cleethorpes game, because that was one of those examples where he'd been out injured, he'd come back, he'd got injured again during that warm-up. And I said to him, I says, Jack, isn't the best thing to do just to take a few weeks out and get yourself back to being fully fit instead of being rushed back all the time? And he looked at me and said, yeah, you're right. But, Jack Cowgill I highly rate. I think he's a brilliant ball-playing centre-back. He likes to travel with the ball, he likes to ping crossfield balls. And with a fully fit Jack Cowgill, that again is a strength in our team.
Yeah. And do you think it's a good partnership, him and Beatson?
Yes. Yeah, I've been really impressed with Brad Beatson. Really, really impressed.
Yeah.
And the way it works is the fact that obviously you've got Jack Cowgill right-footed, Brad Beatson left-footed. Yeah. It's not one of those where you've got two right-footed centre-backs or two left-footed. They complement each other really well.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, do you think it's been a good partnership? Obviously, it's been probably the most consistent partnership this season.
Yeah, it's developed. Brad took a little while to settle in, coming from Frickley, who played a different style of football to what Chas and Wardy wanted here. And he, when I was talking to him, he said it just took a bit of getting used to, but he definitely grew into it. Deck McGiven were unlucky to lose his place, and that wasn't through performances on the pitch. Deck was unavailable due to outside interests and struggled to get back in because of how well Jack Cowgill and Brad Beatson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Deck Acid when he was as a trialist. We need to sign him up after that comment. We need to get him signed up. I don't think I've seen Deck have a bad game. Truth be told,
a couple, but I think that was probably right towards the end of Benno's time, and I think that was reflected in the whole team, not just one individual.
Apart from that, like I said, I don't think I've seen him have too bad a game. I think I mentioned on commentary once that he made a mistake. It was more a bobble on the pitch. I think you corrected me on that one. So other than that, it's just I don't think it's been. I think, as Neil said, he's unlucky to lose his place, and I think.
Yeah, and like Neil said as well earlier, I mean, the fact that if we can get strength in numbers and know that if we're a Jack or Brad short, that Deck can come in, because we know Deck will do a really good job.
Yeah.
He's a really steady, and he's a threat as well because of his height. And if you've got 5'6" striker, and then you see Deck McGiven coming down on you, it's like, all right, okay.
Well, we were playing up in Highbury. We got one of the home support. And Deck was brought on for the last couple of minutes. And all of a sudden we just heard at the back of it, "Oh, Peter Crouch is coming out." I just stood there like, "Is he what?" And
again, really nice bloke as well. Really nice bloke. When I was doing the Christmas light switch on over at Ossett Town Hall back end of November, he actually made a point of coming over and saying hello and having a bit of a chat. Nice lad.
He's absolutely sound, especially when you've done like the sort of behind the scenes things, so quick fire questions and that.
Yes.
I think he was he's definitely good with that sort of thing as well.
Definitely.
So any other, I know I've set award nights tomorrow night, guys. Unofficially, just any standout player of the season, or
there's been a few. I'll let you go first, Bob.
For me, Hoggy and Haswell have been probably the most consistent over the season. Walshaw's done a good job. I think Wally's got the most appearances this season, which I know he did what people going about his age, but at 37 years old to stay fit for a season it's testament to him and how hard he works. All over the pitch, really. Harry Kagan's grown into the season, but again, he had a bit of an injury in pre-season, so it probably took him a little bit of time to get fully fit and then confident in the hamstring. And I think certainly since Christmas he's been up there as one of the most consistent performers. There's been a few.
Neil's just basically taken my three there. I was going to say Aaron Haswell, Luke Hogg and Harry Kagan for no other reason than they are three of the mainstays throughout both management teams.
Yeah.
You know, they started off the season with Benno, they ended the season with Jazz and Wardy, and are still three key players within that team. Not just that though, you've got to mention another Deck McGiven, Ross Hardacre, you know, players again that have been constant between both management teams, and solid players that you can rely on. So I mean, those three are the main standout ones for me, but you know, you've got to give special mentions to Rossi and to Deck as well.
Yeah, I think for Michael, I think definitely Harry Kagan for me would have been. His work rate is phenomenal. His tracking back so many times on commentary. We've commented on his good tackles. You know, he's put a good tackle in. So definitely engaging. Haswell again, for me, and obviously when in the games he's been sent off or he's been injured or suspended, you can tell we've missed him. And he's got, with me and Gary said on commentary up in heaven when he scored that goal, that we needed that spark, and Haswell's got that quality for me. He's got that, if you need that moment, he can take that pop shot from distance. We saw it against Sheffield when he got the first goal. It was like, you know, there's nobody else really who'd wanted to fall to, maybe off Iffy or Walshaw, but we said on commentary, me and Gary, that he's got that quality. In terms of defence, for me, it's either Beatson or Hardacre, like you said. Both really good players, both had good seasons. And Walshaw and Iffy, I think have had really good ends to the season. Obviously, Iffy's scoring in. Did he get one against Frickley?
I think so. Yes, I believe so.
And obviously, he got a winner against Sheffield.
Brighouse
got a winner there as well. So he's had a good start. You know, a good sort of first half season, if you like. But all over the pitch there's been good performances, but put my three stats. If I had to pick two or three, it'd been Kagan, probably Kagan, Haswell, and sort of tie between Wally and Iffy.
Okay.
Up the front, I think. Just to the back end of the season, I think they're going to be chipping in goals. And is there a player you're looking forward to seeing next season? At the moment, Iffy.
Yeah, definitely Iffy. And Nelly, Craig Nelthorpe, if he can, mind you, he'll pay no end of fines and yellow cards, won't he, Neil? So
not seen much of him. So what I've seen, I've enjoyed, what I've seen, but I think I definitely need to see more of him.
Yeah.
Nelly had Steele and to the side. He's a winner. He won't accept players slacking off. He will be on at players again. He will act like a captain, though he ain't got the armband, and you can't have enough players like that in the team. And the opposition will hate to play against him. Opposition fans will probably hate him. But he's just the sort of player that you want to have on your side. Yeah.
Is anyone particularly, obviously other than Craig Nelthorpe, is anyone you're looking forward to seeing next season?
Still up in Jazz and Wardy. He'll sign me up for next season. That'd be a key signing. But I really hope the majority. Well, I really hope all the squad from last season stick together. If we are pushing it in the top six like we hope to be, somebody like Aaron Haswell would star in that, and I think another season with us, his development. Aaron joined us at 17 years old as a skinny little kid 3 years ago, and to see his development over the last 3 years has been brilliant to see.
On and off the pitch as well, because he wouldn't say boo to a goose when he first came. He was an Andy Welsh signing as well, wasn't he?
Yes. Yeah, so
I think he's been through them all.
Yeah, him and Rossi are the longest serving players at the club at the minute. So
Ross is the longest serving person in Ossett after Wally.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ross. Sorry, Wally.
I think Aaron will. If Aaron does agree to stay next season, he'll hit 100 appearances for the club, which in non-league doesn't happen all that often, really. And I do think he's only 21-year-old. I think he's got a very good career ahead of him, higher than step 4. But I think for another season learning his craft, I think he'll do him the world of good.
Yeah, just looking on the comments on Facebook, Neil, in response to your sign you up Chris Boyd, there'll be more hairstyles than appearances if Neil gets signed up.
Love it, Chris.
Rennie's asking where your Cannon John Smiths is.
No, I'm DJing a wedding tonight, so I'm staying the Ultimate Professional.
Until later on tonight, probably.
No, I'll have a couple, but it's the big one tomorrow night.
It's the big one.
If he's that desperate to see me with a can of John Smiths in my hand, tell him to come to presentation night tomorrow night.
There you go, Rennie. Get you sent down tomorrow night.
And the prize for Steward of the Year isn't.
So is it, like we said, it's presentation tomorrow, unofficial podcast awards, if you like. Any goal of the season that stands out for you?
For me, I've got to say Hazard's free kick at Ponty.
Yeah, I think
that was just a perfect free kick. Really was.
Obviously, I didn't, unfortunately, wasn't there to see it, but yeah, I've seen it on the highlights. It's a very good strike.
He's stolen my goal. I'm going to have to start thinking. Probably goals of the season are usually like the free kick or a stunning volley or things like that. I'm going to go for Wally's against Stockton just for the pure emotion of it.
Yes.
And George Green, chance here now.
Broke in, the ball bounced about, and I was stood up by Pierre and watching it. The ball bobbling towards far post, and then Wally just appeared out of absolutely nowhere to put it in. And it were under lights. There were a big crowd that day. The noise when it went in was. I think that's probably the.
I think having lost that FA Cup game at Stockton and then dominating them the way we did down here, for them to then get the equaliser in the 86th minute felt like a little bit of a shot in the foot, really.
Yeah.
And obviously what transpired after that.
I said on commentary that night, it was me and Alex, I said on commentary that night that if we didn't walk away with the win that night, it'd have been undeserved.
Yeah.
I think their goal came from nothing. It was probably the best chance they had all game. And then all of a sudden you're like one each, like, oh, it's going to be nice. And then all of a sudden, just out of absolutely nowhere, it's a toss-up probably between Sheffield and Stockton for me, just the emotion. And if his is just one of them, you knew it was in the minute he hit it.
Yeah.
And I think just what really capped it off for me was just, you've come down from 1-0 and 2-1, under the new floodlights, new lights. And then all of a sudden it's pinball, and then the ball hits the back limit, and the Sheffield players just around that goal. There were 3 or 4 of them on the deck, and you just thought that's just, it was the sheer difference of emotion. You've got one half of the ground, it's like, and the other half just like, you can't believe. So I think for me, probably Sheffield won. Pip Stockton just a little bit, but Stockton's obviously a special one for me personally. But
Yeah, you mentioned the floodlights as well, which I think they're absolutely brilliant. The new floodlights, I'm sure Neil would agree, the ground looks a lot brighter. Still can't see who scored down the other end, but
it's on the shopping list, We've seen two this year. Hebden, what was the other one we saw at that pre-season, that's mid-season friendly?
Oh, against Staveley, Staveley. Yeah. Let's get that PA box moved.
Yeah.
That'd be number 1 on my shopping list. But like I say, I know it's not top of the list of priorities. There are more important things.
I kind of put it on my Instagram that night, so I was just like, guys, this is so by the way.
I did the PA for the Wheatley Cup final here last week, Overthorpe against Tingley Athletic. And Overthought went 1-0 up really early doors, and it was down the bonfire end, and I just had no clue as to who scored. But the thing was with that game is that I didn't actually have anybody around me where I could say who scored. Yeah. So I eventually found out, and he got a mention at half time.
I think one of the worst games I've had this season, from a media point of view, was Pontefract here.
Yeah.
We just could not see a thing.
Yeah.
That fog was just, and then even he says, "Right, you need to go down halfway." So I'm walking down halfway among the fans, and like, right, guys, just walking through. It was quite surreal, walking through. Right, guys, we're live on the radio. Please don't swear. Fucking Bonnie. I'm like, I can apologise for that. And then even at halfway, we were stood just in front of the dressing rooms.
Don't apologise.
And even that, took a corner fast. I think it's a corner to Pontefract. No, shot corner. And I think that was one of probably the worst games.
I think as well,
down
you go back to pre-season, the Sheffield Wednesday game down here, nearly 900 in, and it was still 30 degrees at 8 o'clock, and I think it's one of the few times I'd opened the PA box door in a while, and the heat in there was just ridiculous. I think I said to you guys, didn't I, look, you cannot do your commentary from the PA box, not a chance, because I don't want you collapsing with dehydration halfway through the game, Go and get a suntan where there's a little bit more air.
And I think it's 2 minutes, you're not doing it in the airlines. I was like, okay, well, I just got to that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. But similar Stockton game, that was quite a warm.
It was, that was September, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it was still 25, 26 degrees at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, back end of September, I remember that being quite warm that night still. 20
degrees tomorrow, so I might give my legs a bit of a show in a presentation night tomorrow night.
All over a treat tomorrow, aren't we? So obviously, we're talking about the best games of the season. Has there been a performance where you just think that is the worst performance of the season, do you think?
Liversidge, both games. Stockton away in the league, and probably Pontefract down here.
That's it for you, Neil, is that?
I think Yorkshire away was a poor performance.
Yes.
Just nobody was at it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason that day. And both County Cup games, it's a competition that you do rest a couple of players in. It's one that we should be looking at getting to the last 4 at least every season for me. But both Selby wants it, and then Albion Sports. And Albion Sports was the coldest game of the season.
That was very cold.
That was just an unpleasant day. Or unpleasant evening.
Still not as cold as Cleethorpes away in the very first season. That was bitterly cold.
My memory, my sort of review of that one at Albion Sports was just, we was in that old stand, like wooden seat.
Yeah.
They had like a sort of, like a wooden old school media desk, if you like. And I'm sat there, and I usually got my notes and that all out. That night I just thought, no, I'm not doing it, I can't even. So I'm sat there just like me and Alex and Rob, just like, okay, not got much to say, this is just one of them.
It was cold, I think, with 20 minutes to go, because obviously I'm doing Twitter, so I've got one glove on, one glove off, and I just physically I couldn't type anymore. I rang Neil, I said, you're going to have to take over, mate. I can't type anything. There was nothing to type.
No.
But,
And I think that was the game. Was that the game that you said to me afterwards, you need to ask the question?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, me, Rob, and Alex were looking to what question? And we're like, I think Alex said to me, God, that's you, man. And I don't think I was driving that night. I don't think I said that I needed a pint before that. That's probably the most nervous I've been before an interview this season.
Yeah, I think we just need to say there for the listeners that the question was, I think I said to you need to basically say to Benno, how are you going to turn this around?
Yeah.
Because whilst we're Ossett United Radio, Ossett United Media, and there is always going to be an element of biasness there, I think the supporters would like certain questions answering, and you did the right thing in asking the question.
It was just one of them, first time doing it, shit, today. But no, that was probably the worst performance for me, personally, from a commentary point of view. Probably the worst performance I've seen. I know Liversidge away was a bad one for me, different reasons. Like we didn't get beat. I think it was only 1-0, was it? I know Liversidge was like 6-0 or whatever it was. Yeah. That was a bad performance for me because come second half, there were people just jogging back. The heads just down completely. And that was a night. Obviously, we were quite negative on Ossett United Radio. We don't aim to be negative. We try and be as positive as we can. But that was really hard to be positive that night. And even on the message board, it was getting quite heated on the message board, and I was kind of like, right, hang on a minute, you know.
Yeah, so sometimes you're going to be negative. You know, there's no two ways about it. I mean, I felt a bit guilty after that game because I really couldn't get involved because obviously I was acting as a steward in between two sets of excitable teenagers, shall we say. So that game, I really didn't see much of the second half, and to be honest, I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, there wasn't much.
A couple of notable mentions as well for worst games this season. A couple where Spoff did post-match interviews.
The first one I went too bad.
I was only joking.
The mask one, I asked a couple of questions, and then my mind just went. I just looked at Jazz and Ward, and it was, cheers, see you next season. Just absolutely, I just couldn't.
I think I've had one really bad interview this year. And that was with that David Adewoju,
yes.
I know he was only a teenager, but he didn't really give me much. It was kind of like.
It's the same when we interview Aaron Haswell.
Well, yeah, I think.
Yeah, if you want one-word answers, interview Haswell.
I remember that one. I think just before we were playing away, I think it was the FA. What was it now?
FA Trophy, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Mossley, yes. Yeah.
And I think just before I was walking down the interview, you said to give it more than one word. I think I got three. I think I got three in total from him. To be honest, not much. That was a short and very sweet one.
Yes.
But So go look at the next season, Craig. Do you think we can push for the playoffs next season?
I don't think it's unrealistic. With the squad we've got and additions, yes, we need to be pushing for top 5, no two ways about it. What I would also like to see next season is a bit of a cup run.
Yeah.
Because apart from the County Cup in the first season, Ossett United have notoriously done badly in cups. Neil and myself will probably, go back to right towards the end of Ossett Town, where Ossett Town got to the officially, we actually got to the first qualifying round the first round proper draw, because we've been to Solihull Moors in the fourth qualifying round, drew 1-1, got them back here, but the replay was after the draw, so we were there on BBC 1, 2, whatever it was, as part of the draw. Unfortunately, we lost 2-1 to Solihull Moors in the replay. If only Alex Peterson had have stuck his leg out. Shall we say that?
Somebody took it off his toes, somebody did a diving header and just took it off his toe.
Can't remember who. So it'd be nice to get a cup run, and I think for the fans as well, it's a little bit of a cup run. I'm not saying we're going to get to Wembley, because we're not. I'm talking about Ossett United there, by the way, not Forest.
No,
probably not. I just think a bit of a run, and why not? Let's get ourselves in the first round prop of the FA Cup. Let's make our little Tommy Noddy club in a town with 21,000 people actually famous.
Yeah. No, that'd be good, a good cup run would be a good thing. Neil, sort of ambitions for next season?
Yeah, a FA Cup first round is the absolute dream. Even getting at the minute 2 or 3 rounds, or even not being drawn away to a North East team in the first qualifying round would be quite nice.
What's a home cup draw?
Yeah, I actually don't think I have seen us play a cup game at home. I don't think in the I've done 3 seasons. I don't think.
Yes, Colin at home in the FA Cup replay where we controversially gave Aguero man of the match.
There's been a couple of replays, but I don't think we've had a home draw. But definitely got to be targeting playoffs. The Provisional League lineup was announced yesterday, and I think there's probably, including ourselves, 8 teams who will realistically be hoping for top 5. So something's got to give somewhere along the line. It's just a matter of getting that little bit of luck in a tight game, and injuries have killed us over the last couple of years, and always seem to be in similar sort of positions. So that's where, if we can get the strength in depth, we should be able to mitigate that a little bit. But I'm confident for next year. 2 or 3 rounds so we in one of the FA trophies, and then push for playoffs, and who knows.
Let's make the world famous Infield even more world famous.
Indeed, I think it'd be really good to see a good cup run.
Yeah,
and then obviously get to the playoffs. it'd be interesting and to have like an interesting end of the season, you know, like comment on playoffs and whatnot.
Yeah,
I think that'd be good for the club, and I think good for the community as a whole. I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I think here as a club, we're actually very, very well geared up to be able to cope with big attendances.
Yeah.
You know, we've shown even back to the Ossett Town Solihull Moors game, and then on to the County Cup final down here, the Liversidge game down here earlier in the season. We can easily handle crowds of over 1,000.
Yeah.
Capacity's 1950,
Yeah.
so you know there's no reason why we can't fill this ground and work at it very, very well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We've got a lot of people at this football club that know how to run a football club, know how to operate a football club on match days, and I think that's one thing that bears us very well for the future.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know you guys have said that we've got facilities easily for a league above. So I think that'll be really good to push for. So, pretty much end of this particular episode, end of the season as a whole now from a media point of view as well.
Before that, what do you want to see for next season?
For me, what do I want to see for next season?
Because obviously officially you are continuing on Ossett United
Indeed,
Radio
yes,
next season.
I am, yes. I'll be here for another season. I could go from and push the playoffs. I think that would be my two main ambition for next season. Get a good run of games together, get a good set of results. Playoffs in a good cup run, whether it be in the FA Cup first round proper or just the FA Trophy, or even win it, maybe win the County Cup against something to that extent, get a good cup run and whatnot. Playoffs and a good cup run I think would be an overall good season next season. And it'd be fun to commentate on.
Yes, certainly.
Indeed it would. Indeed, and just, do you know what? A few more last minute winners, that'll just be... If you want to give some more of them guys,
Let's have nice, comfortable 2-0 wins and all that heart attack stuff.
Yeah, just a few good performances, and it'd be nice to see more goals per game.
I'll get the last minute winner where we score down that end, and I just I ain't got a clue, so we'll make it up as we go along. Do normally.
So that is it for this season from a media point of view. The season is now done completely. Thank you very much for joining us this season, Craig. It's been a fantastic season. Thank you very much.
Chris. Thank you.
Spoff, again, thank you very much as well for this season. It has been fantastic. And we'll see you both next season. We'll see you both tomorrow night for presentation evening.
We'll be here.
Join us for that, guys, and get yourselves down here for presentation tomorrow. It is going to be good. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you next season.